All right, guys, we're here with Rudy. Back again. Another, you guessed it, Infernoble profile.
Yes.
Played it at Stone Mountain this past weekend. We were so tired when we left. We just decided, and they kicked us out.
Yeah.
So we decided to do it here at CM. How'd you do? What'd you play? What do you think about the deck in this new format?
I played Infernoble. I went 7-1-1. I got 7th place, and funny enough, it's still a fire deck, so you're using the best extenders in the game, and the deck can still FTK. So for the most part, it hasn't lost that much. So I'm glad to play it. So
people were so mad. Like I heard people sitting beside me were like, "Dude, I just got like FTK by Infernoble or OTK'd by Infernoble.
Yeah.
Dude just destroyed me," and they were so upset. I love it.
Definitely not the deck you expect to be beaten by right now. So.
No. All right. Well, do you want to do shoutouts first? Do you want to get into it?
Yeah. First of all, shout out to my friend Truck. He sent me 3 copies of Fenrir free of charge just so I could have them. Huge shout out to him.
Guy.
Yeah, shout out to everyone who he rode with. Luke, the man behind the camera, PJ, Thomas, Jabin, Chase. Fun car ride.
It was the crew, baby.
Yeah, everyone at Goo Gaming, you guys inspire all of us to be better. So, yeah, for the most part. So, yeah.
All right. You said there was a channel you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, so if you want a better, like a much more in-depth, like we're talking like an hour long, Infernoble Knight John Franco on YouTube. He's the same guy who coached Pac. We went and did the complete, overview rundown. So there you can get like the long version, but here we'll be showing the deck off.
Cool. Let's see it, man.
Alrighty. So starting off, first of all, it's 45 cards. I like the count. But starting off, we have the first normal summon engine. This is Battle Box Uppercutter. This card is absolutely insane. Being able to add this is a non-once per turn spar, a non-hard once per turn extender. So as many times as you can add this back to hand, you can summon it out as long as you get a Battle Box from field. And you know what that means? It just means you're infinitely looping your cards and getting tons of value. This also has a secret effect where if you send it to the graveyard, you can summon a Battle Boxer back. And Dempsey, funny enough, can trigger on special summon, so you're getting tons of follow-up as well. This engine is just really, really good, as well as because it's a Fire Warrior. You can search it with all of your Rotas, so ridiculous consistency. It's really nice. For the Infernoble engine, it's just still straight one-ofs. All of them. This isn't going to change for a while. Format dependent, it could, but when you have so much access to everything, there's no reason to play more than one and maybe brick on draw and get your 2 of at 2. It gives it a lot of consistency, but at the same time, you have so many extenders that you like to see these at 1, so it's still a good count for me. Funny enough, a card that is not really seen to be very good right now because of its interaction with Princess. I played 3 Fenrir still. It's actually very, very strong for this deck because it adds a defensive card to your list as mid as it can be, sometimes going second. You really want this body to special summon out to make use of the fact you're playing a Fire Warrior starter so that you can search with your 3 copies of Museum, your Heritage, your Durendals. So if you could just put this on the board, you're able to search this. And since this is a 1-card combo, you're basically putting an extender on the board and then searching your starter and then going off, which is really, really nice. As well as it being an extender is really good, as well as being a defensive card for going second. This makes it really strong. 2 Black Witch, 1 Pop for the Snake Eye stuff. So you play Pop for the Banshee in the extra deck. We don't play like Bonfire or anything, but it's also really good going second because you can go like Hita, take their Ash, add Pop, and then make like an Apo. It's just really strong. And then Black Witch is, of course, just one of the best cards in the game right now. If you see this, you're extending through almost everything. You're playing through 2 hand traps every time you see Witch. It's really good. Yeah. And then 1 Beckons. I'm going to put it with Succession right here. So this is the engine I decided to go with for the extra deck is the Ib engine.
Yes, sir.
This deck basically turbos out Synchro 5s like nobody's business. And Ib is the second best Synchro 5. The best Synchro 5 is Angelica. So you have multiple lines you can go through Ib first, through Angelica first. And being able to have both of those cards guarantee you an extender through any hand traps just means your deck is playing through everything and snowballing through everything. So you can decide this out going second, but going first is just so unbelievably powerful because it lets you play through Droll, lets you play through Nib. You're just playing through everything with this. It's just so good. Spells, we play 3 Wanted, 1 OSS. Nothing needs to be said. These cards are insane.
I have to.
We play 9 copies of Rhoda, so 1 Rhoda, 3 Museum, which is crazy. 3 Heritage, which is either Terraforming or Rhoda. Then 1 Durendal, 1 Almace, which is just Durendal. This is why we want to play more copies of the special summon monsters. Since you're being able to combine these with your other special summon like Witch or Fenrir, you have so many copies. It's like an extra 38% chance to draw your Uppercutter, which puts you at around a 75% chance to open Uppercutter. And that card, ridiculous. So when you open these, you can either check for Droll, add back cards from the graveyard. You just have so many options with these. It's very, very good. And then the last one is 1 Joy. This is how you can recurse power back from the graveyard, as well as you can get extra normal summons out of your hand. Since if you send the monsters equipped to, you can summon one from your hand. So it unbricks you. It's pretty good. Sometimes you decide out going second, but overall it's really good in the main. And for the hand traps, it's the format for it. We play 12. Just 3 Nib, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. I was playing Tactics and Called By a couple weeks ago, but I think Veiler was just definitely the correct call, and it performed really well. If I drew Tactics the amount of times I drew Veiler, I would have lost so many games. So this was definitely the right decision.
Fair enough.
On to the extra. 2 copies of the Emperor, 1 of the Synchro Emperor, Angelica Roland. The same package you always play in this deck. This card gets you to both these. This is 3 interruptions plus a pop, which is really strong. This deck has hard negates, which almost no other deck has in the quantity that this deck has. You can make 4 to 5 hard negates, which is your opponent plays a card, you negate it. Your opponent plays a card, you negate it. It's actually so ridiculous, especially with how big these bodies get. They add follow up. The fact that this engine can stay alive just means that can run as long as you can. 1 Braver Dragon. So this card is a little bit wild. This is Turbulence for equips. It equips up to 3 equip spells from your deck or graveyard, and then you can send one of them to negate a monster effect. But the important part is you're equipping 3, and then all those equips are plussing you. So you can like add a card off Durendal, add a card from your graveyard, link it off, add another card from your graveyard, and then if you go into a Baron, and you use your Baron negate, standby phase, you can bring this back, and since it triggers on special, you re-equip 3 equips and have another monster effect negate for your opponent's turn, and all the follow-up from the equips. Ridiculous. Yeah, and then Baron is just very, very strong. There's a line you go into where you equip Durendal to this, search out the Oliver, Synchro into Baron, and then equip Oliver to check Imperm Nib, like the 2-card Imperm Nib combo. So, yeah, these cards are really, really insane together. And then Ib, which is the MVP of this deck right now. Again, you're a Synchro 5 Turbo deck. This card is getting you so much extension because you're able to make Braver because it summons a level 4 and it gives you succession to bring itself back because it's a tuner, so you can make Braver with it. You can just straight up just make it to make Baron with the Angelica if you get hand trapped. Just everything. This card's really, really good. It's a lightning rod for hand traps, and again, guarantees you an extender through that lightning rod for hand traps. So it just does everything that a sold would be doing in the deck. I'd still wish I had a sold, but this is definitely a good replacement. For the Xyz, we play 1 Dempsey. Card's ridiculously broken, and then 1 Infernoble Flame Banshee. This card's also really, really strong. Dempsey also triggers on special summon, so when you bring this card back on your opponent's turn or your turn 3, you're still getting your searches, so you just have infinite follow-up and infinite grind game. And then Banshee, you have multiple nib lines where you can like banish this from your graveyard and then bring it back as you control pop, and if your opponent nibs you, they're just losing the game because you can SP banish, and there's just so much you can do. This card's really good, and it helps you play through hand traps because you add pop, if you get nibbed, you make a rank 4. It's really, really strong. In the links, we play 1 Spider because Nib and Beckons. You can make this with Beckons, which is really funny. So if you have like Durendal on Beckons, you can link it off into this and summon back a Fire Warrior and then keep comboing. 1 Little Knight is just Little Knight. Kita, Fire Format, Princess, Fire Format, and Apo. Great to bait interaction. It's really good into Snake because they have a lot of little monster effects they activate, and you can protect this with your big pops. So extra deck's actually pretty tight, but I like the way it functions right now. It feels really good. Side deck, 3 Phantasme. This card's really good in the Snake and the Fire King deck. Just in this deck, the way you play through boards is you want to be able to like link up into Kita and into Princess and like try and like bait your opponent's interactions down and beat them that way. This card's really good at that since you're putting back less than desirable draws while getting a body, while being able to discard some cards for protection. And I play 3 Bystials. Magnuma can also search this, and so if Magnuma, if you trigger Magnuma and you search this on your opponent's turn, then you have this to deal with our Princess on your turn. It's just really strong. It actually can just checkmate that Princess. And Jerusalem is also just very strong in general. Being able to hit the IP, the Link Kribo, as well as snipe any rogue decks like Tyr or Voiceless or whatever, you can hit those out of the graveyard. It's really nice. Onto the weird ratios, we play 2 Tactics, 1 Called By. I side these in going first, side them in going second in certain decks. Tactics is just a decent card all around. I always want this card in my list. Called By because people love the side roll, so I like to hit that card. 2 Cosmic, it's just good to snipe Summon Limit, which is running around everywhere. Anti-Spell as well, running around everywhere, as well as just other applications is pretty good. Hitting Islands, really good. 2 Droll, because I still want to be able to check decks like Voiceless, or rogue decks like Vanadium. If they show up, I want to have them in the deck. I play them at 2 since I have a side out of 2 of Succession and Beckoned, so it leaves room to have 2 side-ins. So that's why these are at 2 instead of like 3 and 3 or a different ratio. And then finally, we play Roland and Ring. So Roland, when it's added off of Durandal, you can use it to affect the target Angelica, and then you can chain Angelica. And because of game mechanics, since this attempted to equip, it's sent to the graveyard. So in the end phase, you could add the ring and then equip the ring to Charles, so you can beat Dark Ruler and all that stuff. So I did get Dark Ruler game 1 blind in round 9. Now that was tough, but I knew that having this in my side deck would have saved me game 3 in the very last round. So I'm very, very glad I played it. These cards are really good. And that's everything.
Your deck's insane, man. It's unbelievable. You keep innovating as the cards get banned. You're gonna get Ib rebanned. It's gonna
Host of Soul, man. I'm not gonna rest until I have Museum limited at 1, Angelica limited at 1, Charles limited at 1. I'm gonna make sure all my cards are dead before I put these cards down. So,
well, congratulations on the top
Thank you.
8. We will see you in a first place deck profile next week.
Nashville and Greenville, baby.
Yes,
Going
sir.
back to back.